Yo, what's up guys, welcome to my humble YouTube channel where I bring you fanfiction that will brighten your days. Before we start, a subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell icon so you won't miss exciting new fanfiction stories. Two Gods Summoned to a Fantasy World by BenGrem1234. Chapter 23. The town of Clover. 1 week has passed after the battle at the vampire kingdom of Lunora, and Rimuru and his party have been camping out in the forest during that time. The reason for this is that Rimuru wanted to give Canade some time to practice the new power she took from that elder vampire. He also wanted to teach his daughters how to generate their mana, since they have been begging him to teach them. Currently, Rimuru is standing in front of his two daughters who were panting on the ground. "Come on, you two. Ain't you guys the ones who insisted on learning how to use magic?" Rimuru asked his two panting daughters. "We know what we said, Papa, but nobody said it would be this hard," Yoshino said while panting. "Yeah, Papa. I'm tired," Sophia said while seating on the ground. "Just one more time and we can rest, okay? Do it for Papa," Rimuru encouraged. "Okay," both Sophia and Yoshino said at the said time in a tired voice. They both stood up and closed their eyes. After that, the both of them began to generate a massive amount of mana, which caused winds to blow the surrounding trees in the forest. The two of them have been learning how to generate mana from within their body this past week. Thanks to Rimuru imputing the knowledge of how this was done for kids their age in their mind, they were able to generate their mana with zero difficulty. Rimuru watched the two generating their mana with a smile. To think that this too would have this much mana. Mana this big could rival a demon lord, and I haven't even bestowed any power to them yet. It's this their natural talent? Less than negative, master. After you and Khloe accepted both Yoshino and Sophia as your daughters, the both of them went through an evolution which turned them into demigods, half human, half gods. The mana the two are releasing is the result of their evolution to godhood. Though, they have yet to reach their full potential due to their body being small. It is estimated that their powers will grow to rival beings like Guy Crimson as their age greater than. That answers a lot of my questions. No wonder their mana is so massive. It will be fun to see how they grow in the future. "Alright, you two. You can stop now," Rimuru told his daughters. The two girls fell to the ground in exhaustion and were breathing in and out. Maintaining their mana for that long is quite exhausting for the two young girls. Rimuru could easily relieve their exhausted state, but he didn't, because they needed to feel this in order to grow in the future. "How about we go watch your mom's training with your big sis Canade?" Rimuru told them. "Papa, carry me?" Sophia asked Rimuru. Being the youngest at only the age of 4 going to 5 soon, she sometimes liked to be spoiled by Rimuru. "Sure thing, sweetheart." And Rimuru, being the kind of father who can't refuse anything his precious daughter asked him, was more than happy to carry her. Meanwhile, Yoshino was looking at Sophia being carried by Rimuru in envy. She wanted to be carried too, but she couldn't bring herself to ask her papa. Rimuru saw the look she was giving them and smiled. He went to Yoshino and carried her in his right hand while he carried Sophia in his left hand. Yoshino blushed and tried to look away, which caused Rimuru to laugh. The three of them walked to another part of the forest and saw an explosion in the distance. On arriving, the three of them saw that half of the trees were destroyed and a giant crater was in the middle of the forest. Inside the crater was Canade, whose clothes were torn and was panting while leaning on her staff. In front of her was Khloe, who was looking at Canade without even a speck of dust on her clothes. "Can you still go, Canade?" Khloe asked her. "I can't give up yet, not until I lay even a scratch on you," Canade told her. "Then pick up the pace and show me your resolve," Khloe told her. Canade calmed her breathing and looked at Khloe with determination. She raised her staff and a huge magic circle appeared in the sky, which rained down fire and lightning on Khloe. Khloe looked at the attack and waved her sword with enough force to generate winds which sent all the attack to different directions. "Burn!" Canade tried to use her power of words to burn Khloe, but nothing happened. "Fall, crush, break, disappear." Try as she might to use her power of word, but nothing was happening to Khloe. "Didn't I tell you that I can nullify all natural and supernatural phenomenon that is directed at me, Canade?" Khloe asked her. "Then how about this?" Canade flew in the air and pointed her staff at Khloe, who was still watching her. Multiple magic circle appeared in front of her staff and she released a huge amount of mana from her body. Immediately, thousands upon thousands of ice spikes appeared in the sky which covered the entire forest. I am well aware that this is nowhere close enough to even make Goddess Khloe move from her spot, but I will use it as a distraction to launch my real attack, Canade thought to herself. Pierce all things. Ice saber, Canade shouted. The rain of ice began to fall at a ridiculous speed which was close to the speed of light. Canade was watching Khloe and waiting for her to make any sudden movement which will be her cue to launch her most powerful spell on her. That was the plan she came up with, but what happened next left her very confused. All the ice spikes that she created disappeared in the blink of an eye. What? Canade said in confusion. I guess I didn't tell you this, but I can hack into any kind of magic which allows me nullify almost all kind of magic in existence. Frontal magic-based attack like that will never reach me, Khloe told Canade. There were more than 5,000 ice spikes and she nullified them all in an instant. Truly, the deities are beings who should not be messed with, Canade thought from the bottom of her heart. Is that all the spell you have left to try, Canade? Khloe asked her. No, I still have my trump card, Canade said to her. Canade released all the reserve she has in her body which caused a cold breeze to blow on the entire forest, absolute zero. With those words spoken by Canade, the air turned dark blue and the world froze. Not like the world was frozen in ice, but more like everything just stopped moving as if time was stopped. This is Canade's strongest spell which keeps everything in the planet in a frozen state. It is different from Time Stop. Time Stop pauses everything and resume after the caster releases it. Absolute Zero keeps everything in a frozen state and shatters everything the caster perceives as a threat after the spell is stopped by the caster. Canade knew that Khloe was immortal and knew that this spell will not kill her, but she was hoping it would at least damage her after she lift the spell. But it was all useless because keeping the world frozen is the most foolish move to use on a being who governs over time. Khloe looked around and released a little bit of her authority over time which returned the world to its normal flow. Canade looked stupefied after seeing how easily Khloe cancelled her spell. Her strongest spell, mind you. That was a very deadly spell. If it was anyone else besides me, then this would have been your victory, but spells like that are in my area of specialty, Khloe told her. Canade flew down and looked at Khloe with a sad face. I never stood a chance against you, did I? At the moment no, but it might change in the future. That is why you are training after all, Khloe told her with a smile. Rimuru, seeing that the fight has concluded, began to walk to Khloe and Canade while carrying Yoshino and Sophia. That was a splendid fight. A bit dangerous for the kids in the world, but luckily I was here to stop any permanent damage. Khloe turned to Rimuru and smirked. I had everything under control, you know. Yeah, tell that to the forest which you two have already destroyed half of, Rimuru told her. Khloe sheepishly looked away from Rimuru while scratching her chin. Rimuru put his two daughters down and they both ran to Khloe and hugged her. Rimuru turned to Canade. You are seriously getting stronger, Canade. That Absolute Zero spell of yours was able to affect the whole planet. Though it looks like it drains almost all your mana when used, which means it will be your second trump card. Do you have anything to tell me about my two trump card, master? Canade asked Rimuru. Well, I need to get your perception right on what your two power does. First, as you know, is switch, which you believe that allows you to transfer all injury you receive to your opponent and returning you to your normal self, Rimuru began to explain. Is that not what it does, master? Canade asked him. It is not wrong, but you are only looking at one aspect of what switch can do. It not only switch your injury, but it switches your concept of being with another. What this means is that you can switch your subconscious to the subconscious of your opponent, thereby switching body with them. You could even switch your powers with your opponent if you have more experience on using the ability, Rimuru explained to her. Canade looked at her hand. I didn't know that it could do that. I thought it could just switch my state of being with my opponent. Well, I don't expect you to know all this, which is why we're training you. The second trump card you have is Absolute Zero. Now you believe that the spell can only freeze physical things. But with what I saw from the spell can freeze even non-physical things, and it even froze abstract things like light and time, Rimuru told her. But how is that possible? I mean, Goddess Khloe was still moving even when I activated the spell, and she was even able to dispel it, Canade said in confusion. Using Khloe for example is already a bad perception. That girl is a walking cheat that makes all ability users to lament on the unfairness of the world. Rimuru told Canade with a serious expression. What did you say about me? Khloe shouted to Rimuru as she walked to where he and Canade was with Yoshino and Sophia following behind her. Am I wrong? You are literally a walking power nullification who nullifies all kinds of powers in existence with your authority over time and hacks, Rimuru told her. Says the one who naturally shut down all kinds of abilities and powers just by existing, Khloe said to Rimuru. Mine is understandable since I am a supreme deity who governs everything in existence. You on the other hand is just a deity, but you have all this hack's abilities stacked inside you that makes fighting you an impossibility and abilities are involved. You literally have the ability to change your own setting and make the impossible possible. When you battled that time god who obviously had you beat in everything, even though I gave you a little bit of power, you were able to evolve to a being who can change the setting of the world system. You managed to overlay your own setting and stack yourself with enough buff and hacks that allowed you to kill the time god, Rimuru told her. And yet, that power has not allowed me to even put a scratch on you in any of our fights, Khloe said with a frustrated look. That's because I am amazing, you know. I created the system, you know, Rimuru said with a smug look. Khloe sighed and smiled at Rimuru. Indeed, you are amazing, but I will catch up to you soon. Rimuru smiled at her. I'm looking forward to the day you do. Speaking of which, why didn't you use that ability of yours in the fight with Lilith? The fight would have ended much quicker if you did. I wanted to test how good my control over turn null has become, Khloe told him. That makes sense, I guess. Rimuru said to her. Papa, what are you and Mama talking about? Sophia asked. Nothing you both need to worry about. It is still early afternoon, so how about we eat lunch and continue our journey? Rimuru told them. I want meat, Papa. Yoshino said to Rimuru. I want cake, Papa. Sophia said to Rimuru too. You both can have whatever you want since you did so well on your training, Rimuru told them. All right. Both of them exclaimed. Canade. We will resume our conversation later, Rimuru informed her. No problem, Master. After having their lunch, Rimuru created a horse carriage, which is what they were using to travel. They traveled overnight and was able to make it to a town on the next day. Rimuru, who was driving the horse carriage, looked at the town's gate and saw the guards who were on lookout in the gate. He woke his daughters and Canade and asked them to be vigilant in case of anything. Not like anything could happen to them with him and Khloe there, but he sees this as part of their training for the kids. Halt. State your business here, a male beast man with dog ears and a tail asked them. We are traveling humans who are seeking a safe town to stay in for the week. Please, sir, may we enter? Rimuru answered them. The beast man looked at his two partners who were behind him and nodded at them before turning back to Rimuru. Are there only girls on your carriage? Yes, sir. We are all girls who escaped from our country and are looking for any place to stay for a while, Rimuru answered them. The beast man smiled and opened the gate for them. In that case, we welcome you to Clover Town. We hope you have a wonderful stay here. Thank you so much, sir. We will be going now, Rimuru said as he began to drive the carriage inside the town. After they had left, the beast man turned to his two partners. Go and inform the boss that we have some fresh goods in town and that they are quite the beauty. The two other beast men smiled an evil smile and went into the town to inform their boss about their new guest. Rimuru was still driving the carriage when Khloe and Canade poked their head from the curtain of the carriage and looked at him. Rimuru looked at them and nodded. I assume that you two have noticed it as well. Yeah, we have. This town is filled with nothing but male beastmen and kids, Canade said to him. It must have something to do with why those guards were asking if we are all female. Khloe told him. I have a hunch on what is going on, but I won't be certain if I don't look around. Anyway, let's find an inn we could stay in for a while before we investigate, Rimuru told them. Roger that, Khloe and Canade said at the same time. And so, the new adventure of Rimuru and Khloe began.